Our journey began February the 13th at 5:28 a.m. Wesson was born at 25 to 26 weeks premature, weighing 2 pounds even. He suffered a birthing injury on the top of his head, which led to the diagnosis of acquired hydrocephalus. From there, he was transported to the Carl NICU in Champaign. Wesson was stabilized but remained in critical condition at Carl. We had no idea how long and painful the road ahead would become. On the 23rd of February, Mom held baby Wesson for the first time. That very first tear that rolled down her cheek while she held her little baby boy will be stained in my memory as long as I live. On February the 27th, Wesson starts to open his eyes, and Mom is already a pro at cuddling her tiny little baby. Although I was still afraid of Wesson's fragile state, we still found a way to make our bond. By March 5th, we are seeing the effects of hydrocephalus. His head was swelling as he awaited being stable enough to be transported for surgery. St. Patrick's Day, we were in Peoria when Wesson had his first surgery. A reservoir was placed in his head to retrieve excess cerebral fluid. 2 days post-surgery, Wes was stable enough for Mom to hold him again. We were looking forward to some great improvement. On the 26th of March, Wesson had his first EEG test done. We found out he was having seizures, so they prescribed him a couple medications which he currently takes until this day. April 2nd, I finally got the nursery completed. Not having a clue when Wes would be released, I was determined to provide a comfortable setting for our miracle baby. Nearly 2 months in, Wes was packing on the pounds, and I finally got comfortable enough to hold him. It was at this very moment I knew God had answered my prayers, and I was certain Wes was here to stay. On April 15th, Wesson began sucking on his pacifier. Talk about cuteness overload. Over the course of the next few weeks, lots of tests were done on his GI. The results came back in. He was diagnosed with neck disease. On May 6th, he went down for a surgery where he received a colostomy bag. After many anxiety-ridden days, the day my son got to meet his brother was May 7th. Wes was really starting to fill out by this time as well. This was a very, very heartwarming day. We started bottle feeding Wes in the middle of May. This was a triumphant experience. Watching him progress gave me so much hope for some normalcy in his future. When June rolled around, Wes was getting chunky, and he was almost ready to get another brain operation. June was one of the easier months throughout this journey. Lots of cuddles in progress. Remy School let me pull him out early for the remainder of the year, and our family was together at last. June 21st, Wesson got an operation where his intestines were reattached. They removed the colostomy bag. Everything seemed to be going good. On the 26th of June, Wesson finally gets his shunt placed in his head. The moment we were waiting for. Well, at least we thought. Turns out the surprises were not over. July did not start off good at all. After recovering from the shunt operation, Wesson was doing remarkable at first. He was eating double what he was before. His seizure meds were reduced, which allowed him to be more lively, and he was starting to show cues and bits of his little personality. He had to drink 10 more mLs per bottle feed, and we were headed home. Marissa had everything packed up. We were discussing discharge. Out of nowhere, Wesson took a turn for the worse. He was vomiting, his skin was becoming a pale, concerning color, and having trouble keeping his heart rate in an ideal range. Before, we could always sense a fight in him, but this time it was different. July 4th, we got the call that Wes had an infection in his CF. The bacteria thrives on plastic and metal. He had to have all the devices removed from his head on July 5th, and the infection devastated his progress. Wes couldn't bottle feed, He lost motor skills and pretty much had to learn how to be a baby all over again. We were completely shocked by the turn of events. Despite all of the frustration, we pushed forward and was thankful he was alive. A G-tube operation took place on August 5th. Wes recovered quickly, like his normal resilient self. Hope was restored, and we were beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. August 18th, dozens of nurses and doctors lined up the hallway of the NICU unit as we exited the hospital. Some were crying along with us. Countless tears of joy rained down the faces of those whose lives were touched by Wesson. Our handsome little miracle finally felt a breeze of wind and the rays of the sun that Thursday afternoon. He has been thriving at home ever since. We were told in the beginning that the NICU life was a roller coaster. It definitely had many ups and downs, but there was nothing fun about our son's extensive stay. However, we made the best out of a horrible situation. The family house played a key role in giving us the opportunity to better our days. Advice and comforting words from the staff and the other guests. Financially, we had extra money for activities that allowed us to put our thoughts in a better place. And being just a few blocks from our hospitalized son, these were all great blessings. After a while, it felt good to give encouragement to new guests. Although my family had more support and was financially stable, I witnessed the family house feed those who were hungry, give hope to those who were overwhelmed. We watched people come and go, awaiting the day it would be our turn. We cried ourselves to sleep many nights and woke up every morning to kind greetings from the staff and guests. We will forever be thankful for the family house for lightening our load during these trying times. The family house is a beacon of support and understanding. Thank you, family house.